After 7 years together, 31-year-old Elena, a successful marketing executive, never imagined that the love of her life, Liam, a 33-year-old freelance graphic designer, would accuse her of using him for a visa. What started as an anniversary dinner ended with a breakup that left her questioning everything about their relationship. Elena Garcia's life was a story of perseverance. At 31 years old, she had carved out a successful career as a marketing executive in the competitive landscape of New York City. Originally from Spain, she had left behind her family, friends, and the comforts of home to chase her dreams in a foreign land. Her determination was unmatched, but her life wasn't without its challenges. Her temporary work visa was a constant reminder that the life she'd built could be upended at any moment. Her anchor through it all had been Liam Carter. At 33, Liam was a freelance graphic designer, a man who thrived on creativity and spontaneity. While Elena's life was structured and goal-driven, Liam's was more free-spirited. Together, they created a beautiful balance. For 7 years, their love had been a steady source of comfort and joy, filled with late-night talks, shared adventures, and dreams of a future together. Yet, like any long-term relationship, theirs had unspoken complexities. They'd touched on marriage in the past, but it always felt distant, something to be discussed later for Elena. Later was now. Her visa situation was becoming more pressing, and marriage seemed like the logical next step for their relationship and her future. What she didn't know was that bringing up this topic would unravel their world in ways she couldn't have imagined. It was supposed to be a night to remember. The small Italian bistro they chose for their 7th anniversary had an intimate charm, flickering candlelight, soft jazz, and the aroma of freshly baked bread filling the air. Elena had carefully chosen her outfit, wearing the red dress Liam had once called his favorite. She was nervous but excited, hoping this milestone would mark the beginning of a new chapter for them. The evening started beautifully. They reminisced about their first date, laughed over shared memories, and clinked glasses of wine in celebration of their journey together. For a moment, Elena felt a sense of calm. Everything seemed perfect. As the main course arrived, Elena decided to bring up the topic that had been on her mind for weeks. "Liam," she began, her voice soft but steady. "Have you ever thought about us getting married?" She tried to keep it casual, though her heart raced with anticipation. The smile on Liam's face froze for a fraction of a second before fading entirely. His body stiffened, and he shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Elena," he started, but then paused, as if searching for the right words. The warm, romantic atmosphere felt like it had been replaced by a sudden chill. In that moment, Elena knew something was wrong. She could feel it in the way Liam avoided her gaze, the way his shoulders slumped. The night that had started with so much promise was about to take a turn she never saw coming. Elena had spent days thinking about how to frame the conversation. She didn't want to come across as desperate or pressuring Liam, but the urgency of her visa situation left her with little choice. Marriage wasn't just a solution to her immigration issues, it was something she had wanted with Liam for years. This felt like the natural next step in their relationship, a milestone they were ready to embrace. Taking a deep breath, she explained her reasoning. "It's not just about my visa," she said, her voice calm but firm. "We've been together for 7 years. I love you, Liam. This feels right for us, for our future." Her eyes searched his face for reassurance, but instead she saw hesitation. Liam's initial response was cautious, almost rehearsed. "Elena, I love you too," he said, fiddling with his fork. "But marriage is a big step. I just think we shouldn't rush into it because of a visa issue." His words stung, but Elena tried to remain composed. "It's not rushing, Liam. We've talked about the future before." "I thought we were on the same page," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. That's when Liam dropped the first bombshell. "I just don't want to feel like this is only about your visa," he said, avoiding her gaze. Elena's heart sank. The implication that her love could be reduced to an immigration strategy felt like a betrayal. After all their years together, how could he even think that? The conversation shifted from tense to devastating as Liam continued. "I've been thinking about this a lot," he admitted, his voice barely audible. I don't want to get married until you have permanent residency. Elena's eyes widened in disbelief. What she asked, her voice breaking. Do you really think I'd use you for a green card after 7 years together? Is that what you think of me? Liam hesitated, his silence more painful than any words he could have said. It's not that I don't trust you, he finally murmured, but I've heard stories. People getting married just for visas, and then. Liam, stop, Elena interrupted, her voice shaking with anger. We're not people, we're us. Do you really think I'd throw away everything we've built for something so shallow? But Liam didn't answer. Instead, he looked down at his plate, his expression one of conflict and doubt. The man Elena had trusted with her heart suddenly felt like a stranger. The relationship she thought was built on love and mutual respect was now overshadowed by his fears and insecurities. The romantic evening they had planned was gone, replaced by an unbridgeable gap of mistrust and misunderstanding. Elena realized in that moment that the issue wasn't just about marriage, it was about something much deeper. The days following the dinner were filled with an unbearable silence. Elena felt like she was living with a ghost of the man she once knew. Liam had retreated into himself, avoiding her questions and deflecting any attempts to talk. For Elena, the conversation at the restaurant replayed in her mind like a broken record. His words, the hesitation in his voice, and the doubt in his eyes had left her wounded in ways she didn't know were possible. One evening, as they sat in their small apartment, she couldn't hold it in any longer. Do you even believe in us anymore? Elena asked, her voice cracking. After all these years, how could you think I'd use you for something as trivial as a visa? Liam sighed heavily, rubbing his temples. It's not about that, Elena. It's about everything. I just feel like we're on different paths. Your career, your independence, it's overwhelming sometimes. I feel like I'm constantly trying to catch up, and marriage feels like too much right now. His words stung like daggers. What had once been one of the things she admired most about Liam, his honesty, now felt like cruelty. You're making this about you, she shot back, her voice rising. I've never made you feel less because of my success. I've always supported you. And now, when I need your support the most, you're pushing me away. Tears filled her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Liam didn't respond. Instead, he sat in silence, his expression unreadable. For Elena, that silence spoke louder than any argument. It confirmed her growing fear. Liam wasn't just hesitant about marriage, he was hesitant about their future together. The next few weeks felt like walking through a minefield. Elena and Liam tiptoed around each other, their once vibrant conversations reduced to awkward small talk. She would leave early for work and come home late, burying herself in projects to avoid the emptiness of their shared space. Liam, on the other hand, spent hours in his home office, headphones on, pretending to work. The distance between them grew heavier with each passing day. Elena found herself scrolling through old photos of happier times, beach vacations, lazy Sunday mornings, and holidays spent laughing with friends. She couldn't reconcile those memories with the reality they now faced. One night, while staring at her laptop, she found herself looking at flights to Spain. The thought of going back home, even temporarily, felt like a lifeline. But the idea of leaving Liam, of walking away from everything they'd built, was equally terrifying. Liam's behavior didn't help. Every time she tried to initiate a conversation about their future, he shut her down. Can we not do this right now, he would say, his tone weary. It wasn't anger that filled the space between them, it was apathy. For Elena, that apathy was the most painful part. It was as though Liam had already checked out of their relationship, leaving her to grapple with the wreckage alone. She realized she couldn't fix this on her own. And as much as it broke her heart, she began to wonder if they were fighting for something that no longer existed. The final conversation between Elena and Liam came on a quiet Sunday evening. The rain tapped against the windows as they sat across from each other on the couch. The air was thick with unspoken words, the tension so palpable it felt like a third presence in the room. Elena broke the silence. Liam, we can't keep living like this, she said, her voice firm but laced with sadness. We need to face the truth. Are we really still in this together? Liam hesitated, his gaze fixed on the coffee table. I don't know, he admitted finally. I feel like we've been moving in opposite directions for a while now. I love you, but I don't think love is enough anymore. Elena's chest tightened at his words. So that's it, she asked, her voice breaking. 7 years, and you're ready to throw it all away because you're scared of what's next. It's not just fear, Elena, he replied, his tone soft but resolute. It's everything: the visa, the marriage, the career differences. I feel like I'm always going to be in your shadow, and I can't handle that. The vulnerability in his voice took her by surprise, but it didn't make the pain any less sharp. You're not in my shadow, she said, her eyes welling with tears. I never wanted that. I just wanted us to build something together to face life's challenges as a team. They sat in silence for a long time, the weight of their words settling between them. Finally, Liam spoke again. Maybe the best thing we can do for each other is let go. Elena nodded, tears streaming down her face. Deep down, she knew he was right. Holding on to a relationship that no longer aligned with their paths would only bring more heartache. That night, they made the heartbreaking decision to end their relationship, knowing it was the only way to find clarity and peace. The first days after the breakup felt surreal. Elena wandered through her apartment, now filled with echoes of a life she no longer shared with Liam. His absence was palpable: the empty space on the couch, the untouched coffee mug he used every morning, the silence where his laughter once filled the room. At first, she questioned everything. Could she have done more to save their relationship? Was she too focused on her career, too blind to Liam's insecurities? But as the days turned into weeks, Elena realized that the cracks in their relationship weren't new. They had been there all along, quietly widening over the years. She began to refocus on herself, pouring her energy into work and reconnecting with friends she had unintentionally drifted away from during her relationship. One evening, while scrolling through job listings, she came across an opportunity in Paris, a position that perfectly aligned with her career goals and offered a chance to start fresh. The thought of leaving New York, of leaving behind the memories of her life with Liam, was bittersweet. But as she stared at the job description, she felt a flicker of hope. Paris represented a new beginning, a chance to reclaim her independence and rediscover who she was outside of her relationship. With a deep breath, Elena submitted her application. For the first time in weeks, she felt a sense of purpose. Though the pain of losing Liam was still raw, she realized that endings were also beginnings. She didn't need to define herself by what she had lost. She could shape her future on her own terms. As she packed her belongings in the apartment they had shared, Elena found herself smiling through the tears. She was ready to embrace the unknown, to write a new chapter in her story, one where she was the protagonist, no longer waiting for someone else to lead the way. The day Elena and Liam officially parted ways was quiet and somber. There were no angry words, no grand gestures, just two people acknowledging that their journey together had come to an end. Liam packed his belongings while Elena stayed in the bedroom, giving him the space he needed. When he was ready to leave, he lingered by the door, as if searching for something to say. I'm sorry, Elena, he finally murmured, for everything. You deserve someone who can give you what you need, and I just wasn't that person. Elena looked at him, her heart aching but strangely calm. I hope you find what you're looking for, Liam, she replied softly, and I hope you find peace with yourself. They shared a brief embrace, one final moment of connection before stepping into their separate lives. As the door closed behind him, Elena felt a mix of sadness and relief. It was over. 7 years of love, memories, and dreams had come to an end, but the weight of uncertainty and conflict had lifted. In the days that followed, Elena began to rebuild. She took long walks in the park, savoring the freedom of making choices just for herself. She reached out to her family in Spain, reconnecting with the people who had always supported her. Slowly but surely, the cracks in her heart began to heal. The job offer in Paris came through a few weeks later, and it felt like a sign. She accepted without hesitation, ready to embrace the adventure that awaited her. Packing up her apartment, She found mementos of her time with Liam, photos, ticket stubs, little notes they'd written to each other. She kept some, but most she let go, understanding that holding on to the past would only hinder her from moving forward. Arriving in Paris felt like stepping into a dream. The city's vibrant energy and timeless beauty were intoxicating, offering Elena a sense of renewal she hadn't felt in years. She threw herself into her new job, quickly impressing her colleagues with her expertise and creativity. Outside of work, she explored the city's winding streets, indulging in croissants at corner cafes and marveling at the art and history that surrounded her. For the first time in a long time, Elena felt truly free. Free to rediscover who she was, free to chase her own dreams, and free to love herself fully. The scars of her relationship with Liam remained, but they no longer defined her. Instead, they became a reminder of her resilience and her ability to overcome even the most heartbreaking of challenges. One evening, as she stood on a balcony overlooking the Eiffel Tower, Elena reflected on how far she'd come. She realized that the end of her relationship with Liam wasn't a failure, it was a necessary step in her journey. It taught her about her own strength, her capacity for forgiveness, and the importance of being true to herself. To anyone who found themselves in a similar situation, she had one message: life doesn't end with heartbreak. Sometimes it's the beginning of something even more beautiful. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed Elena's story, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more stories of love, resilience, and new beginnings. See you in the next video.